Have you ever, found yourself standing before a challenge that just seems massive? Maybe it's a huge project or something personal and you feel kind of frozen, like you can't even start. We tend to just stare at the size of the problem, right?
Yeah.
And it can be really overwhelming. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that feeling, but with a really different angle. We're going to unpack some amazing insights from the H7O Ministry's daily devotional. It offers wisdom that's, well, pretty universal.
That's right. And our mission here is to really get into the heart of this devotional message. The battle is the Lord's. Faith, focus, and courage. It uses a very famous story to give us practical steps. Steps to move from fear to conviction, from being stuck to taking action. We'll explore how changing our perspective, where we put our focus, can change absolutely everything. And as part of the H7O ministry, we're excited to share this.
Okay, so let's unpack it. The devotional takes us straight to David and Goliath. You know the scene. Armies facing off. And then Goliath steps out. Huge, intimidating. And the Israelites, they're terrified, just paralyzed with fear. Nobody wants to face him. It looks impossible.
Exactly. Pure paralysis. But then David shows up, and his whole attitude is just different. The devotional calls it an unshakable certainty. He walks out there and says, from 1 Samuel 17, the battle is the Lord's, and he will deliver all of you into our hands. And what's key here, what the devotional really stresses, is that this isn't arrogance. It's surrender. Right. Not giving up to Goliath, but giving up his own limited strength to trust in God completely. Total dependence.
Right. So it's less about the giant itself and more about remembering who's actually fighting alongside us
Yeah.
in any battle we face. And this is where the devotional pulls out three core principles that we can all use. The first one is about proper focus. God is the center. It makes this really sharp contrast. Saul looked at Goliath. David looked at God. Simple, but wow.
It hits hard, doesn't it? Because, as the devotional says, focus determines faith. Think about it. If all you see is the problem, the obstacle, well, the devotional says those who see the problem more than the promise become paralyzed. You get overwhelmed, just like Saul's army. But David, he rejects distractions. He doesn't get drawn into arguing with his brothers. He doesn't try on Saul's armor that doesn't fit.
Well, he stays centered.
Exactly. He stays centered on his conviction and on God. His focus is elsewhere.
So for us, that means, well, the devotional puts it as those who focus on God ignore the voices that divert them from their purpose. It makes you ask yourself, okay, what Goliaths are taking up my focus? Am I just staring at the problem?
Or are you looking for the solution, the strength beyond the problem? Good question to ask.
Okay, then the second principle, pure faith, the courage that comes from conviction. David's faith wasn't just an idea. It was real conviction. It drove him. He wasn't speaking for himself, right? He was speaking for the Lord.
Absolutely. And where did that conviction come from? The devotional points out he recalls past experiences. He remembered God saving him from the lion and the bear. Those were real deliverances for him.
Yeah, proof.
Proof. He saw those as evidence that God would do the same with Goliath. It wasn't about making yourself look good. It was about God's faithfulness. And that idea connects to, building confidence in general. You look back at what you've overcome. Like the devotional says, faith that rests on God's past faithfulness doesn't fear the future.
That's so powerful. It gives you something practical. Think about your own past victories. Times you got through something tough, maybe things you thought you couldn't handle. Those memories, those are your milestones of faith, as the devotional calls them. They can fuel you now.
Remembering your own resilience.
Okay, and the third principle, stance of confidence. Stand up and face it. While everyone else was running away, the devotional highlights that David runs to the battlefield.
Yeah, towards the danger, towards the challenge.
It's a really active, courageous step.
And courage, according to the devotional, isn't the absence of fear, it's the presence of conviction. David probably felt fear. He was human. But his conviction was stronger.
Okay, so conviction overrides the fear.
Precisely. The giant fell because David stood up with boldness and faith, because he knew whose battle it really was. He knew he wasn't fighting alone. That changes everything.
So it makes you think, what would it look like for you listening right now to run into the field today? What challenge needs that kind of bold step, trusting you're not alone?
It's about turning conviction into action.
Now, the devotional doesn't just leave us with these ideas. It really pushes us to reflect. It asks some tough questions like, where have I been acting like Saul, afraid, paralyzed, maybe trying to look strong? Or am I trusting in human weapons or in God's presence? That one's direct.
Very direct, and maybe the most challenging. What would stop me today from running into the field with the certainty that the battle is the Lord's?
These really make you stop and think, don't they?
Yeah, they do. But thankfully, it also gives us practical steps, actionable things. First, evaluate your focus, like actually list your distractions. Then pray to get centered again. Take control back.
List them out.
Second, revisit past victories. Remember those times God brought you through. Write them down, maybe. See them as those milestones of faith.
Concrete reminders.
Yeah,
Love that.
build on that history. And finally, stand in faith. Take one courageous step this week, something you've been avoiding.
Just one step. Start moving.
Put it into practice.
And the devotional points to other scriptures, too, that really back this up, like Psalm 20.7.
Some trust in chariots, some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God.
Yeah, powerful.
And 2 Chronicles 20.15. The battle is not yours, but God's. Just flat out says it.
Can't get much clearer than that.
Then Ephesians 6 tells us to be strong in the Lord, put on the full armor of God.
Equipping ourselves.
And Romans 8.31, maybe the ultimate confidence booster. If God is for us, who can be against us?
All these verses just echo that core message.
Yeah.
Rely on God's strength, not just your own. So wrapping this up, the big takeaway from this H7O devotional is pretty profound. You don't have to be the strongest. You just have to be on the side of the one who never loses. The battle is his, and you are part of the victory. That really reframes everything, doesn't it? How we see our struggles, where our strength comes from.
Wow. Yeah, that's a perspective shift you can really carry with you. This whole deep dive has been great. It shows how focusing right, having that pure faith from conviction, and finding the confidence to act, it all flows from knowing the battle isn't just yours.
It really does. And as members of the H7O ministry, we really want to thank you, our H7O community, for joining us for this. Your interest and your engagement make these deep dives so worthwhile.
Absolutely. And if you want to learn more about the H7O ministry or maybe support the work we do, please visit us at h7o.ilife. You can find more resources there and connect with the community. Thank you so much for joining us today.